I'm telling you, I think this might be the best antique wooden boat museum in all of North America. Hi, I'm Joe, and welcome to Motor City Boat Werks. Let's get to work. If you're new to the channel, Motor City Boat Werks is my amateur boat building and boat restoration studio. It's where I make how-to videos about some of the projects that I'm working on inside my boat shop. Right now, I'm in the middle of a multi-year restoration of an Albin 27 pocket trawler. I'm just about to start phase 2 on this boat, and the project's on hold while I wait for some of the larger components to be delivered to the boat shop. In the meantime, I've been working on a second project, a salty little sailboat called a Skipper 20. I'm in the middle of doing a complete restoration and getting it ready for some adventures. These projects can be overwhelming and draining, and sometimes, well, you just need a little bit of motivation. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I sometimes like to get away from the boat works. I like to put the projects behind me and get out and get some boat motivation. This episode, I've got something extra special. I've traveled all the way to Clayton, New York, on the banks of Lake Ontario to visit what may be the best antique boat museum in all of North America. I first heard about this museum from my good friend Rick Laporte. He's building a 31-foot CNC plywood trawler in his backyard in Ontario, Canada. I interviewed him about his boat build. If you haven't seen the episode, be sure to check it out. The museum is appropriately called the Antique Boat Museum. It's a private museum open to the public and chartered by the New York State Department of Education. It boasts more than 20,000 square feet of antique boat storage. It was founded in the 1960s and 70s and grew out of an antique boat show that occurred along the St. Lawrence River. There's about 320 boats spread across multiple buildings, everything from small canoes and kayaks to rowboats, sailboats, small power launches, vintage engines, and some exotic wooden racing boats. Of course, I've been to Mystic Seaport in Connecticut, but I don't think I've ever seen sheer variety of antique boats in one place. It makes you wonder who's taking care of them, who's restoring these boats. The museum is spread through several buildings on a 4.5-acre campus. Today, it's the site of an annual antique boat show, as well as numerous programs and active restorations going on inside its boat shop. I'm inside the stone building. It's one of the buildings here on the campus at the Antique Boat Museum, and this is kind of a workshop area. I'm going to talk to these two gentlemen here. If you want to introduce yourselves.
My name's John Rusho. I've been around this area one way or another most of my life. I'm a volunteer, and I help restore the smaller wooden boats.
My name is Mike Shaver. I've been on the river all my life, summers.
Right.
Been volunteering here for just over 20 years.
And we were talking before, I was asking you, are you formally trained?
No.
Have you been to wooden boat school or anything like that? Where do you learn how to work on the boats?
Well, when I was young, I helped my uncle do some repair work on wooden boats.
Right, so you were familiar with them
A
already?
long time ago.
Right.
Later, when I was a young adult, I built a couple of wooden boats, but they were simple plywood on frame boats. They weren't like this.
Right,
So I kind of picked it up over the years.
right. And do you do full-on restorations? Are you working on the museum pieces? What are the boats that you're working on? You mentioned it was all volunteers, so you're not doing it contractor profession or anything like that.
No, all the boats we work on are museum boats.
Correct.
And it's repair and restoration. We do the most of the work, the simpler work on the in-water fleet,
Okay.
which are the boats out there in the...
Right, the ones you can take a tour on, the ones that you can
Yeah.
sit in.
Major
Sure.
restorations on those boats are sent
Right.
out to professionals.
Is it volunteers that mostly keeps the fleet going and keeps
Yes.
the museum pieces in order?
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of the work on the ride boats, we contract out.
Right.
Yeah.
Some of the more major work right now.
Sure.
One of the boats is still in the shop across the street, and we've got, we're doing the varnish work, and we've got somebody redoing all the upholstery.
Right,
A professional.
It just
right.
worn out.
When I came upon you guys today in the workshop, you were having a discussion about an issue with this particular boat. Can you tell us what it is? What's the challenge for today?
It's a class, they call it the Thousand Islands One design.
Okay.
They were built somewhere around 1924,
Okay.
Yeah.
so it's about 100
This
years.
boat's built around 1924.
Yeah.
It's called a
Here.
Thousand Island One design.
Yes.
Thousand Island One design.
Okay.
It was built here on the St. Lawrence River, I'm not sure where, somewhere here. And I believe this is the only survivor of that class.
Okay.
Something like
I
20,
thought we had another one.
there might be another one, 25 or something like that were
Sure.
built.
Yeah.
And
And they were contracted by or commissioned
Yeah.
by the Clayton Yacht Club.
Okay.
And the purpose of the one design is to have all the boats exactly the same.
Right.
And
For racing
For
or
racing.
whatever. Now,
It's
is
not
this a
class
sailboat? Is it a sailboat?
Sailboat,
Yes,
yes.
this is a sailboat.
yes,
Right.
yep, that's
Okay.
the centerboard right.
Oh, I see. All right. So this is a centerboard down here.
Yeah.
anyway, sorry, we only got one boat in here.
Yeah, usually there's
Whoa.
at least two.
I would say it needs a little bit of work.
Yeah, it needs a lot of, yeah.
Fascinating. And what is it that you're working on? Looks like you're replacing some.
Well-
Disassembling things right now.
Yeah.
This boat was donated with a stipulation that it be restored.
Right.
Normally, a boat in this bad shape,
Right.
if you
Firewood.
really wanted that boat, you could
Yeah.
restore it.
Yeah. Might be easier to build a new one.
The other
Probably
option
from the
is
lines,
to
right?
take the dimensions off the boat
Right.
and build a new one from scratch,
Yeah.
or just say, it's firewood,
Yeah,
and we're getting another
Yeah.
boat.
One of my rules of amateur boat restoration, and in fact, the number one rule is I tell people to choose the boat that they're going to work on wisely. Pick one that's the right size, has the right specs, that's going to be what they want to use it for, but more importantly, it needs to have a level of condition that it's in for the amateur, for
Yeah.
it to kind of be reasonable to work
I
on.
don't think, speaking for myself, I don't think normally we would tackle something this far.
Right, because, yeah.
But because it's local and because
It's
it's,
quite significant if it's the only one left.
there's
or
only
of
one
two.
or possibly two left.
Yeah. They've got an extensive collection of wooden antique boats. Many of them are small craft, small runabouts, small canoes, sailing dories, a variety of different vessels. And they're spread out across 6 different buildings that they have on the campus here. There are running boats that you can take a tour on. You can actually go out on the water and travel around. If you're into boats, it's really kind of a fascinating museum. You know, the artist in me, I love traveling all over the world and going to museums and art galleries, but this is the best of both worlds. It's beautiful vessels, and you get to see the craftsmanship. It's just something that you don't normally get to see up close. The powerboat display was something unexpected. Their lines, the artistry, and the craftsmanship that went into making them, it's just something you don't see every day. You know, it's hard to say which boat I like best, but I think I'm going to be partial to Miss Detroit. This thing has the shape of a boat that looks like it just wants to go. I just love it. In an art gallery, they'll make you stand 10 feet away to admire something special, but here you can get up close and see all the details. If you're a boathead like me, it doesn't get any better than this. I gotta say, it's really kind of inspiring and it's definitely motivating. If you're in the area of the Thousand Islands, upstate New York, or on the shores of Lake Ontario, you've got to take a moment to check this museum out. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a comment below. In your comment, use the keywords real boat restoration. It helps train the YouTube algorithm to put good content with a proper description. Join me next time. I'll be back in the Boat Works working on my projects and getting into the details. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I think it's time to get back to work. We'll see you next time. Stay motivated.